everyone, it's the Vigilante. So for today, I'm going to be reacting to some stuff about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, personally, I don't think the game is nearly as bad as everybody is making it out to be. I haven't finished it yet, so I can't sit there and say too much about the story. But it's the typical Assassin's Creed game. But you know what? They decided to give us two characters to try to make both type of fans happy. You had the old school fans that are more like me that enjoy the more assassin style. Then you got the newer fans that because of Origin, Odyssey, Valhalla, you got the newer character. And that's what you play as the black guy. But that is the reason why everyone is throwing a fit. It's because they put a black man in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Boo-hoo, get over it. Okay, just because the skin color of someone does not mean if the game's going to be good or not.
Shadows has finished its first full day of release and the game is now out in the wilds. I've been playing it myself, and I will give you my honest opinion on what I've played so far as someone who has played pretty much every game in the series, well, minus the side-scroller ones. But first, let's look into what this game has achieved in 24 hours and look at it through a critical lens. This is from Fandom Pulse. Shadows has reached just around 41,000 players concurrently on Steam alone. Some people are touting this as a success. However, if we place this against Dragon Age Veilguard in its day one of release, that game managed to hit around 89,000 players within its first 24 hours on Steam. You don't need to be a math whiz to know the difference in these two player numbers. Honestly, I thought Shadows would skyrocket to at least 100,000 people day one on Steam. I was convinced that this would happen, and I was very obviously wrong on that one, and it surprised me. I mean, only 41,000. Really? For Ascreed? How the hell did Veilguard double the player count and then some? A reminder. Veilguard sold about 1.5 million copies once it was all said and done. It was a commercial failure, and then it was dumped on PS Plus, where players actually rejected it as well. People wouldn't even play the game for free, and yeah, I don't blame them. There's no way that Shadows is currently anywhere near a commercial success for Ubisoft if you ask me, looking at these numbers and more. Of course, Ubisoft did try to spin the story, as you can see here on Twitter, where they posted this. It's not even 4 p.m. here in Canada, and Assassin's Creed Shadows has already passed 1 million players. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for joining this adventure in feudal Japan. However, notice how they worded this announcement. 1 million players, not copies sold. If there were 1 million copies sold, they would have said that. But
it doesn't really surprise me that this game isn't doing as good as Veilguard, but I will sit there and say, hands down, this game is way better than Veilguard. Veilguard was horrible. The beginning wasn't too bad, but as you played Veilguard, it was horrible. It really was. The game didn't even feel like Dragon Age. It was so different. It honestly did not feel like Dragon Age. But this one, at least it feels like an Assassin's Creed game. It actually belongs in the Assassin's Creed. And honestly, I have played every single Assassin's Creed game except for Valhalla. I still have yet to sit there and get into Valhalla. And honestly, I thought after Odyssey, I was never going to play another Assassin's Creed game. Then they made Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I didn't mind Assassin's Creed Mirage. And then this one, so don't mind it. It's still a solid game, I think.
Trick here is that you can play Shadows via their Ubisoft Plus subscription. It's pretty much Game Pass, but Ubisoft games. Anyway, that's definitely a way that people are playing Shadows for less than full price. And of course, Ubisoft is taking those players who are playing it via Ubisoft Plus and then considering them as sales, but it's not even close if you consider how much each player actually costs. A lot of the time, you'll see game companies swindle these numbers by including things like Game Pass or PS Plus numbers into their overall copy sold narrative. Why would they do that? I hear you not asking. It's simple. Because if the numbers look better, they can then slap it on a PowerPoint presentation during their next investor call and go, see, people are buying our games. Now give us your investment so that we don't go bankrupt. Everything about executives and how they word things is carefully orchestrated to give the best possible results when they speak this.
Of course, Ubisoft is going to lie about the numbers. Like they have to. Ubisoft is in major trouble. Okay, honestly, I honestly think that someone's going to buy them out soon. I really do think Ubisoft's about to file bankruptcy or something. Because Ubisoft's in trouble. After that horrible Skull and Bones game, which I never even played it, but from what everyone says, that game was horrible. They made poor decisions with that game. Then you include, a lot of people sit there and say Avatar, the Avatar game was a bomb, which I actually enjoyed the game, so I don't know why everyone's throwing a fit about that one. Then you had Star Wars Outlaws, which I haven't played that one either, but from what everyone says, that once they fix the game, if they would have released that game in a good state, then the game probably would have done a lot better. But the unfortunate part was the main character they chose to pick was a below average looking woman. If you wanted to have a woman as a lead character, what you should have done was at least make her attractive. If we're going to stare at a screen for hours, we at least want to see something attractive. We don't want to see something ugly. And then they sit there and make this game. Now, honestly, I don't mind that they sat there and picked a black guy as one of the main characters, even though in my opinion, he's not really a main character. The main character is the female, because so far from what I played of the story, he doesn't really add anything to the story. It feels like that Ubisoft, wrote the story based around the female shinobi and then just added him in because they wanted to appease the people that were fans of the Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla games. And then, of course, I do know, we all know the reason why that they picked that one specific character.
Despite if things are actually failing. It's like if you ask someone what they had for lunch and they said, I had a baked bread with beautiful cheese, thinly sliced Italian meats, and a side of delectable beverages. And then you go, oh, they had pepperoni pizza. They're talking about just eating pizza and drinking a Coca-Cola for lunch. But that sounded fancier than me just saying what it is, right? Same thing here. Sure, it crossed 1 million. Which, if you've been watching my content on Shadows for a while now, I explicitly stated multiple times in previous videos that I believe that Shadows would cross 1 million copies, not players sold in 24 hours, because this is Assassin's Creed after all. And it seems even my low expectations have not been met for this game in both its Steam number counts or its actual copies sold. It's kind of astounding that Shadows is just sort of not reaching the heights of previous games. Of course, that hasn't stopped other websites from already doing exactly what I said they would do when the time comes. Here's PC Gamer claiming that Shadows has smashed Ubisoft's previous highest player count on Steam, which was Valhalla, within 24 hours. This sounds great, right? Well, it is if you just believe anything that you see on the internet. The reality is that with a quick Google search, you would know that Valhalla released on Steam 2 whole years after it originally debuted on PS5 and Xbox. That game was, at that point, full of expansions and DLC packs and cosmetics like crazy too once it came to Steam. Shadows is the first time an Assassin's Creed game has released on Steam the same day as PS5 and Xbox in the franchise's history. So naturally, because a new game that is being hyped up despite the quality or controversy that comes out around it, there are going to be those who will still check it out.
Yeah, he does have a point there. This is the first game that ever released on Steam. I always thought it was kind of stupid that they never did it before. But you know what? The reason why this game is not doing as well is just like I keep sitting there saying. It's because of the controversy. Because people can't look past the skin color and they just get too into their feelings.
So of course Shadows is going to break Valhalla's numbers when the majority of people who couldn't wait for Valhalla played it already on PS5 and Xbox when it came out originally in 2020. So you're comparing a 2-year-old product releasing on Steam versus a product that is day one in the same franchise. Look, they tried the same thing with Veilguard. Here's GameIndustry.biz when Veilguard released. Oh, it smashed EA's day one player count for Dragon Age as a franchise. Like no shit it did, because the previous game in the series, which was Inquisition, as you can see here via Steam database, didn't come to Steam until 6 whole years after it initially released on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So just like Shadows with Valhalla, the gaming journalists are trying to use selective wording to prove to you that this is actually a success. Which in Veilguard's case, we know that it wasn't. The point here is that what they're trying to push as a narrative is just not going to work on most people, because they're more informed than ever before. Of course, you'll have the usual websites or the shill Twitter accounts trying to claim that Shadows is actually a success. But the reality is that, like them claiming that it has the biggest Steam release while ignoring history like these types usually do, they'll say that it sold 1 million copies when Ubisoft has clearly stated that players are 1 million, not the copies sold. Again, it's all selective wording, and you need to question everything that you see online, because had I not just showed you the evidence, that I can't make up by the way, go Google it yourself if you think that I'm lying, you would know that I'm just telling you the truth here. They are lying about the success of their video games because they want their slop to succeed when it isn't. I
will firmly admit that this game is not going to be a success. Anybody with an IQ above room temperature knows that this game will not be a success. But the problem is, it should be a success. Now, do I think that this is the greatest Assassin's Creed game to ever exist? No. That's going to go to Assassin's Creed 2. Brotherhood was better. Honestly, I love Ezio. Ezio is probably one of my favorite characters in the whole series. But no, so far, I think it's better than Assassin's Creed 3. I did not like Assassin's Creed 3. I think it's better than the story of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, to be honest. But there is a lot of problems with this game, like the side missions, except for the certain missions where you get to actually see the characters past. Those are good. The rest of them are garbage. The problem is but even if Ubisoft would have gave us amazing side content like you got in God of War, it wouldn't have mattered. This game could have had the best writing you have ever seen, and it still wouldn't be a success. All because they chose a black man as one of the lead characters. That is the only reason why that this game is not a success. Now, I'm not going to continue on watching this video because I don't want to go another 15 minutes hearing him ramble on about some stuff that doesn't even really matter, to be honest. It's stupid and ridiculous. Like, he actually did a video where he was talking about how woke it was, and I thought this was going to be similar to it, but it's not. So I'm going to sit there and go back because he also cherry picks history parts and wants to forget the rest of the history also. But that's it for my reaction. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay vigilant.